This bad boy is a 2004 Volkswagen Golf Mark 5, but more importantly, it's my first car. Now, one thing that should be noted is that she needs a teeny bit of DLC, but before we get started on that, we should probably get started on how this dommy mummy came into my possession. Our story starts in late 2024 with a 16-year-old Captain Oblivious Mist, who realises in a year's time he'll be able to start learning how to drive. This caused our young hero to begin looking at cars so he can estimate how much he'd need to save for how long until he can buy a car. So, for months he stared at listings for basic first cars like Citroen C1s, Vauxhall Aguilas, BMW 1 Series is pretending to be Minis. But one day, our protagonist received a message from his old man offering him what can only be described as the greatest first car known to man. A Golf Mark 5 GT TDI. And that, kids, is how I met your mother. However, this beauty needed a few bits and bobs doing. So our hero and his old man decide to begin work on these little issues when our hero gets his license.
One eternity later.
Well, anyways, after being offered this pure beauty, a year passes, and my baby is sitting idle, until one rainy day, this handsome man, the hero of our story, decides to pay his car a visit. And, oh boy, is she a mess. 'Tis to the surprise of, well, no one. Being left to sit idle for a year does wonders to a car. Well, anyhow, after seeing my baby like this, I came to the natural conclusion that it was time to start work on it. So, cut to a week later, and we decide to check if this sexy lady starts. Hours were spent trying to jumpstart her. Hours she spent staring lovingly into the eyes of a Land Rover. Ooh. Hey, baby, nice eyes.
Oh, aren't you a cute little Golf?
However, it was for nothing, as despite how many times and how many hours we tried to get her going, she just would not go, like, at all. Like, not even a sense of life in the engine. We kind of thought it was because she was on an empty tank. So we decided to call it a day at that point and was like, alright, try again next week. However, as we were packing up to leave, I was grabbing my keys out of the car and I realised something very interesting.
Right, so this is Dylan a few years into the future here. Yeah, hello. I kind of realised after I decided to make this into a video that I kind of wanted to show this feature off on camera. So we're going to do... Take your glasses or something, it's a sunny day. Oh no, I've left my glasses! Well, fear not, because you can, just in case of emergencies,
Store them in your car, because this is a little hatch here. Like, ready? Oh. Ta-da! Glasses holder.
my baby is filled with many different oddities.
Boom! Cut to 2 weeks later with some diesel and cleaning products to give my beauty a good old clean and to get her running. Firstly, look at how shiny she is now. Secondly, following the failure of the last time, we decided to try and give her some nice, yummy diesel to get her going, alongside attempting to jumpstart her again. This did not work. However, we did hear some sounds of life coming from my beloved Golf, so my old man came to the executive decision to try and bump start it, using the Golf's lovely partner, which is the Land Rover, to pull it along. Now, little did we know that this decision would cause a chain of events that can only be described as oopsie daisy. As, after trying to give her a good old bump start, well, it failed, we realised the Golf would have to be pushed back into its lovely parking space. So, it was time to push. However, someone, me, had to be behind the wheel to make sure she wasn't going to hit a rusting bag of bolts that is my old man's camper van. This did not go well, as whilst I was sitting in the driver's seat, it did not occur to me that I have no power steering due to the lack of engine. So, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, while I did eventually realise this, I realised it a bit too late, and sideswiped the Renault next to me. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Germany tried invading France, and it failed miserably. Just look at the giant scratch running across my baby. Albeit, it took a chunk of the Renault with it, but... oh... Anyways, after this mishap, it was decided to call it a day. Until next week. Then, 1 week later, on a rainy day, our brave hero and his old man returned with a new battery. Ta-da! As it was time to get this thing going, after removing the battery cover and the battery, shortly after, the new battery was fitted, where we realised it was too big to put the cover on. But, it'll do for now. After fitting the battery, I stepped back in anticipation as my old man got behind the wheel and turned the key. Would this finally be the time my Golf starts running, or would we be in for disappointment? This is attempt 365 of getting the Pearl started. Yeah. As you can tell from that attempt, we were incredibly close, and we decided that the new battery probably needed a jump. So, we hooked the jump leads to my sexy piece of German engineering, and the Land Rover. My head filled with anticipation, I waited. Would my baby finally burst into life? Or was something wrong with my starter motor? Here we go again. Getting ready to jump it. Connected up to the Land Rover. Yes! We have life! She lives! After this, we decided to blow up my car's flattened tyre and take her for a spin around the estate. Now, before I show you this clip, no, I was not driving my girl, as, remember, no license. And also, I literally just 1 week ago had a love tap in my car without the engine running into a stationary object. I wouldn't trust me in that car, alright? So, probably wise, really. But anyways, I digress.
After many weeks of trying, we finally have power! And that's the tyre being pumped. So I probably shouldn't be in the car while doing this, but yeah. Yay! Very rainy day. Very.
Well, on that bombshell, we conclude the first episode of my series on repairing my car. Tune in, please like and subscribe to be notified of the release of part 2, where we'll hopefully be servicing my beautiful baby. Goodbye!